Donald Trump calls us vermin. Donald Trump got elected president calling American voters vermin if they didn't vote for him. Hitler's word, vermin.
President Trump has just been dragged into the biggest crisis of his career. And the man behind it all is Lawrence O'Donnell. Yes, the only journalist bold enough to rip open Trump's darkest secrets, live on national TV. How is he able to keep exposing Trump while he holds the power of the presidency? And most importantly, what is this war going to cost Trump in the near future?
Donald Trump has said the ugliest things about American voters that any American politician has ever said. And Donald Trump went on to win the Electoral College after saying those things. And the New York Times simply doesn't know how to handle what Donald Trump says and does.
The feud between Donald Trump and O'Donnell has been ongoing for years, but it all started back in 2011. He said Trump was feeding America poison just to boost himself. And here's the thing, no matter how many times Trump has gone after him, O'Donnell doesn't seem the least bit threatened by him at all. But honestly, that was only the beginning of Trump versus O'Donnell. And what came next? That's where it gets even more intense. Campaign attacks and NBC pressure. By 2016, Trump wasn't just a celebrity anymore. He was running for president. And this is exactly the time when Trump started taking aim at Lawrence O'Donnell. Trump was now using his campaign stage to go after anyone who called him out. And Lawrence O'Donnell? He was on that list. On MSNBC, O'Donnell kept calling Trump a fraud. He kept saying his campaign was built on hate and lies. Night after night, he said it exactly as it was. But that's where things got tricky. Behind the scenes, Trump was still tied to NBC, thanks to The Apprentice, the show that had turned him into a household name. For years, NBC had handed him free publicity. So what happened when one of their own anchors, Lawrence O'Donnell, kept hammering Trump? Pressure had already started building. There were whispers that Trump was furious at NBC for letting O'Donnell speak so openly. Some even said Trump wanted NBC to silence him. Think about that. A presidential candidate is trying to push a major network into protecting him. The clash wasn't just on TV. It was in the back rooms, too. But O'Donnell? He didn't stop. He kept exposing Trump's tax evasions, his shady deals, and his false promises. Every night felt like another punch landed. And Trump? He fired back with insults, calling MSNBC fake news and labeling O'Donnell a loser. The feud was boiling over, and now it felt like a personal war between a journalist and a candidate who was growing famous. Trump's shameful scandals. The year was 2019, and that's where we enter the darkest part of this story. Because Lawrence O'Donnell wasn't just talking about campaign lies anymore. He started pulling back the curtain on Trump's shameful scandals. First came the money trail, Deutsche Bank. But here is the eyebrow-raising part. It was the only major bank willing to lend Trump hundreds of millions when others walked away. But why would a bank take that risk? And who exactly was backing those loans? O'Donnell raised the question on air. And for a moment, it looked like Trump's financial house of cards was about to collapse. Trump's lawyers threatened lawsuits. O'Donnell retracted one detail, but the shadow of those shady deals never left. But wait, money was only the start. Because there was another storm, one with a name that still haunts the world, Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, the man is tied to child trafficking, secret files, and an entire network of elites. And do you know who kept showing up in those circles? Donald Trump. This wasn't just gossip. There were photos, parties, witnesses. And even today, the Epstein files hang like a dark cloud over Trump. People still ask, what's hidden in those sealed documents? And here's the twist. Rumors spread that even Elon Musk once warned Trump that if those files ever exploded fully into the public, the damage could be unstoppable. Think about that. Banking frauds, Epstein scandal, dark ties that refused to disappear. And O'Donnell? He was the one bold enough to drag them into the spotlight. But if you think Trump was just going to sit back and let this happen, think again. Because what he did in the next years was exactly what you'd expect from a wealthy, stubborn, powerful man fighting to protect himself. And when he struck back, that's when the feud exploded. Trump's counterattack. In late 2023, Trump went on his own platform, Truth Social, and demanded that the government come down hard on MSNBC. And yes, that happened in this democratic country. He accused the network of election interference and even hinted that its license should be stripped. But here's the catch: MSNBC is cable. It doesn't even use broadcast licenses. That mistake showed how little Trump cared about facts. What mattered was power and how far he'd go to silence critics. And then came the words that went viral. In her book, Liz Cheney revealed how some Republicans described Trump in private. They called him Orange Jesus. To them, he wasn't just a politician anymore. He was treated like a cult figure, placed above rules and above truth. That story exploded across headlines. But do you know who made sure millions actually saw it play out on TV? Lawrence O'Donnell. He didn't bury it in small talk. He turned it into a national conversation. He showed how dangerous it is when politicians worship power over principle. And it showed just how personal this had become. A twist that showed Trump wasn't just angry at O'Donnell's words. He was trying his best to destroy O'Donnell. But here's the real question. Why couldn't he pull it off, even with the power of the presidency behind him? Let's break that down. The latest clash. Since the very start of this year, the clash between Donald Trump and Lawrence O'Donnell has raised its head once again. But this time, it feels much more heated. Because Trump isn't just a president. He is considered to be the most powerful man in the world. And with that kind of power, every word he speaks and every move he makes carries more weight than ever before. Recently, O'Donnell has reignited the fire. He didn't hold back. He laid out, piece by piece, every single thing Trump has been trying to dodge. From the questions about the Epstein files, to the country's burning issues at home, and even to the mounting failures of foreign policy. O'Donnell has made it clear that Trump isn't giving straight answers. He said that instead of addressing these critical challenges, Trump is busy waging personal wars, attacking critics, and trying to silence voices that call him out. Now comes the real question. How has O'Donnell been able to do all this? He himself answered it. He said Trump knows he could never silence him. Again and again, O'Donnell declared that Trump might try, but he would still speak. But O'Donnell didn't just mention it in passing. He turned it into a full-on spotlight moment. He showed viewers that while the country is looking for solutions, the president is distracted by vendettas. He reminded America that the job of a leader isn't to demand loyalty. It's to deliver accountability.